Hey, welcome back. Today I am sharing my seed haul from Johnny's Seeds. So these are primarily cut flowers. If you're new here, I have a flower farm. I'm going into my 4th year, unbelievably. And I also am just a hobbyist gardener who just loves the pretty flowers. So I've got my order here. I am in Canada. Johnny's does ship to Canada. It's a little bit more pricey, obviously, with the dollar exchange and customs and shipping. But I find that their quality is just unparalleled, and their selection is quite great as well. So I'm going to be sharing with you what I have here. One packet I don't have because I actually already started it, and that is the Panorama Bee Balm. Beautiful, beautiful perennial, really lovely benefits. It attracts the pollinators, and it's a great cut flower as well. So I already started that one, so I don't have that one to show you. So I have a few different lupins. Lupins are a perennial, but they take 2 years to bloom. So unfortunately, I'll be starting these this year and I won't get blooms until the next year, but that's okay. I think they are worth it. They're an early bloomer, really, really nice late spring flower, and I really love them. I have pink and purple so far, but I have a few different selections this year to try. So I have My Castle Lupin, Chandelier Lupin, and Noble Maiden Lupin. And those are the new ones I'm going to be trying this year. I have really good success with trying them in the winter sowing method. That's that little milk jug you put out in the winter when it's still frost outside, and they seem to germinate really well for me there. So I will be starting these in that method. The next one I have is Swamp Milkweed. I have another milkweed, the orange type. Beautiful perennial, beautiful bloomer. Nice interest, even when they're in the bud stage. It just looks like almost orange berries, and then once they bloom, of course, it's just like a nice cluster of orange blooms. But this one has that beautiful mauvey pink. Really excited to try this one. I've found contradicting information about this one. The back of the seed packet says zone 7 to 10, but some places say that it is a little bit more cold hardy than that. So I'm going to be trying to see if it's a perennial in my area. All right, and then I have a couple status. I usually grow almost every single status that they offer, but I'm noticing that I'm not really gravitating as much towards that bluish purple as much as I usually think I am. So I'm cutting that one from the docket, and I'm actually just going to grow the Johnny's Pastel Mix, which I think offers so many different colors, and actually a light blue as well. But I think this will be a good option, and I think I might gravitate towards it more when I'm using it for cut flowers. And then of course the apricot, just such a beautiful color. And for Snapdragons, I have a few different ones. From my Snapdragons, I think I've gotten 2 or 3 years from them, and I'm not sure if they will continue to sort of produce flowers. So I'm going to be replanting them this year. I have Chantilly Light Salmon F1 color. I really like that color. And then I've got Madame Butterfly, which is also an F1. And then lastly, a Rocket Mix F1. And how early they also bloom as well. So I usually get maybe 2 or 3 flushes throughout the season, throughout the growing season for my Snapdragons. And then Cosmos, I have 2 that I'm growing. I have the Double Click Mix. Just love that sort of extra puffy double flower. Really, really pretty one. And then Apricotta, which is just such a beautiful, beautiful color. Cosmos seem to bloom later in the season for me, so I'm not relying on these in July. Mostly August they start to bloom. I get the odd one in July, but they are a later bloomer for me. So now I have some Strawflowers. Strawflowers are a very dependable flower for me. They sort of pick up production later in the summer, but I do get some early blooms from them as well, all into our first frost. So definitely a great, great option for me. So I have a Monstrosum Tall Mix. And I believe that was just a good mixture. Sometimes the mix packs aren't my favorite because there's a lot of orange and yellow and red, but this one seemed to be a good option. So I'm trying that one out. And then I have Seashells Mix, another mix that actually has some nice colors in it. Trying that one out as well. Bright Rose, I've grown that one before as well. Really like that one. And then I have some Zinnias. So I've ordered Zinnias from Johnny's, but also another company. I'll probably share that in another video, but this deal was just too great. It was ½ an ounce, and these are the Giant Dahlia Flowered Mix. Again, mixes don't always give you the colors you want, but just a lot of different ones. But I have this new bed outside of my flower farm because I'm thinking a lot of my neighbors have zinnias just out in the open where deer can sort of browse the area, and they don't seem to be bothered by that. I see lots of beautiful blooms on my neighbor's zinnias plants. So I'm going to be trying these outside of my flower farm fence because if I can grow them outside of the fence and use the inside of the fence for other items that aren't deer resistant, I think that's a no-brainer for me. So I just thought I would get an enormous amount of zinnias to try, and we will see what happens there. Let me know in the comments if you have good experience with deer browse or not browsing on your zinnias rather. And then I have Sunbow Mix. I really liked this one. This one just looked like a different, not your sort of classic zinnia, just like a different petal to that one. And then Oklahoma Salmon. This is probably my favorite zinnia I grew last year. Oklahoma Salmon, just the ruffled, beautiful tiered look at those petals, and then of course the color. These were definitely my favorite. So I have 250 of these. And then I have State Fair Mix. And again, the mix is not always a great idea if you're very particular with the colors, but it was just such a great deal. This is a very large packet. I forget how big it is. I'll put it on the screen, but this was a very, very good deal for what it was. Okay, and then another good deal, Celosia Pompous Plume. I don't have great success with this. For whatever reason, I don't know if it's a nutrient in my soil, I don't have great success with Celosia, but I'm trying it again because, again, this was a good deal, and I just need to try. I need to figure it out. I need to get to the bottom of why it's not doing well for me. I find I give up on sunflowers, but sunflowers I just need to try and try and try because they're just so beautiful. Okay, and then Rudbeckia hirta, and this is the Sahara. Rudbeckias perform very, very well for me, and I've got a few of the different varieties. Even cherry brandy seems to perennialize for me, which is not usually the case as it is a tender perennial. This is also, it says zones 9 to 10, but I'm gonna see if this will perennialize. Saharas are just such a beautiful color. Really hoping that these work out well for me. And then I have a few different eucalyptus. Eucalyptus is obviously not a perennial in our area. We're about zone 5, too cool for them, but I still like to grow them and then overwinter them in my basement because it's just such a beautiful, beautiful plant and leafy texture. So I've got Silver Dollar. I have one that I can't pronounce, but it's just a beautiful leafy texture, and then Baby Blue. Really like all of those options as well. I seem to have good germination rate with them, but they're just a little bit slower to get established because of our cooler climate. And then Scabiosa, this is the triple berry mix. So again, with the mix, usually it's not a great idea if you're very particular with the colors you want, but this one had just such beautiful colors in it, I had to get it. Last year, I also grew the annual Scabiosa. Scabiosa comes in 2 different types. There's a perennial, the Scabiosa fama white or blue, but this is Scabiosa atropurpia. And these are just a pretty mix. So last year, the annual Scabiosa I grew it had like this bluish color, like a light blue and a light pink and purple, and I didn't gravitate towards that. I think I'm gonna go away from the blues and purples, or at least the blue toned purples, because I just don't seem to really love mixing that in bouquets. But this mixture with the sort of burgundy, mauve, and pink was just beautiful, so I thought this would be a great idea, and there's 500 seeds in there. Okay, the last 2 ones I got are mixes, and I've never bought mixes from Johnny's before, but again, these were a great deal. I think they were about $10 per bag, and there's an ounce in each one, which covers quite a large area, and I think most of these are pretty deer resistant. So I'm hoping I can find a sort of a spot to sort of just have a bonus area for some beneficials to come in. So the first one I have is actually called a beneficial insect attractant, and it has things like alyssum, Queen Anne's lace, dill, cilantro, coreopsis, poppies, leucanthemum, that's a daisy, blazing star, liatris, bergamot, Rudbeckia. A really nice selection, and again, it's beneficial just to have those insects coming in. Maybe they're a predator insect or maybe they're a pollinator, but really, really good to have if you have some space. And then the last one I have is the butterfly and hummingbird mix. And this has things like alyssum, aster, black-eyed Susan, blazing star, some similar ones from the last mix, candy tuft, clarkia, coreopsis, echinacea, gaillardia, larkspur, lemon mint, lupin. So really nice mixture here, and a lot are actually perennials, which is probably why I bought it. But yeah, excited to sort of find a spot for this. It's sort of like an adventure for me to find little areas that are not being grown in and just sort of sprinkle the seeds and they kind of take care of themselves. Well, that is my seed haul for 2025. Really excited to see these sort of flowers come together, the different colors I chose. Very reliable varieties, and I just feel like it's a no-fail. Now that I've had a few years experience of what has worked for me, it's really exciting to kind of know that these will be sort of the backbone of my bouquets for the coming year. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know in the comments if you've tried any of these varieties or what you're trying new to you this year. It's so exciting when it's winter, it's cold out, we have snow right now, but I can kind of dream of the coming year and the coming bouquets that I'm able to make in the future. Thanks again for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Bye.